আৰু ক্ৰমাগতভাৱে চতুৰ্থ দিনৰ বাবে আজি পুনৰ সংবাদমেল সম্বোধন কৰিছে কেন্দ্ৰীয় বিত্তমন্ত্ৰী নিৰ্মলা সীতাৰমণে। আগবঢ়াইছো পোনপটীয়া সম্প্ৰচাৰ।
নমস্কাৰ। Today is the fourth day where after the Prime Minister's address to the nation on building a Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have been announcing in several tranches the various steps that we want to take to give a stimulus, to help and to extend that little assistance which as a government we should and do it in time, and therefore we had a Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan package. Post that we also ensured that people don't suffer with having to file their returns or comply with taxation and related things. So in stages we've announced relief for the MSMEs, NBFCs and so on. But importantly, Prime Minister had also said in building a self-reliant Bharat, we should prepare ourselves also for tough competition so that we become strong, we are able to be first of all self-reliant and at the same time be sure we are strong enough to face the challenges of the global value chains and also be ready to integrate. I repeat, when we talk of self-reliant Bharat, when we talk of Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are not looking inwards. It's not isolationist policy. It is certainly making India strong, making India rely on its strength and be ready to face the global challenge. Many sectors need policy simplification, whereby we can make it simpler for people to understand what that sector can provide for them, how they can participate in that sectoral related activities, bring in transparency in processes and so on. So once we decongest sectors, we can also provide the necessary boost. That sector too will become strong enough and competent enough to provide the necessary boost for growth and employment. And as you all know, the Prime Minister has a very strong track record in taking up reforms, deep systemic reforms. I'll just highlight those reforms which are worth recalling. And on those reforms, it was public knowledge and all of you all covered extensively the efforts that had gone to take everybody on board so that those reforms become everyone's reform. DBT, the direct benefit transfer. Today it's become very useful for us to be able to directly give money in the hands of people. GST, which had been pending for a very long time, all states were taken on board and GST brought in one nation, one market. IBC, companies waited for decades to have their insolvency related matters settled. Limited success was felt through the various other programs, schemes which existed, SARFAESI or BIFR and so on. Then the several steps which were taken for ease of doing business so that India becomes an attractive destination for investment. You also had the public sector banks reforms, not only just infusing some equity but also making sure that they become professionally managed, although they are public sector banks and performing well, but still they needed to have more professionalism, so that was also, and giving independence for them, because that's an area in which I would take extreme pride to say, between 14 until today, you wouldn't have had one phone call going to any one of the banks saying, give this loan to my cousin or my whoever. No cronyism has been developed through the banks. Direct taxation reforms, Revenue Secretary is here. most unexpected time, the country saw that a drastic step had been taken, drastic but in a favorable sense. Power sector reforms. Udai was a scheme which was brought in with a great sense of wanting to clean up that sector. It has its challenges, but it was a daring reform. Coal sector and also water and irrigation. There are many such I can list, but Prime Minister Modi has been absolutely consistent in making sure reforms are taken up. So structural reforms are the focus of today's announcements. Today's announcements are focusing on structural reforms. The sectors in which these measures will be impacting are those sectors with these reforms which are going to be the new horizon for growth. And therefore, we see great potential in more investments which can be drawn with the reforms that we are announcing today. More production can be clearly marked, and certainly it will lead to a lot more employment possibilities. We can actually start off with some preliminary slides before I go into talking about today's announcements, which will explain all the steps that we've taken in the recent past to make sure that investment come into this country and also make India a far more business-friendly destination. Before I go into that, it is important for us to recall that steps which have been taken earlier have been announced variously at different times, and because of the lockdown and because of COVID, I think time feels like as though it's been a long time since the budget was presented. It was only presented on 1st February. And just as soon as the finance bill got passed, the Parliament also had to very quickly close for the reasons of social distancing and so on. And just before February, we announced the National Infrastructure Investment Foundation, the fund that was launched. So, and therefore such steps have been taken. Clearly these are the ones which are going to initiate a lot of things that we want to tell today, and also a lot of things that we want to do towards building an Atmanirbhar Bharat. So if we can go to the first slide. The policy reforms to fast-track investments. In the last couple of months, an empowered group of secretaries has been formed who also looked at project development, and project development cells were formed in various ministries. Ranking of states on investment attractiveness is also being worked out. This will make them compete for new investments, and promotion of champion sectors such as the solar PV manufacturing and so on, the advanced cell battery storage research. These kind of activities are also being given a priority. So for an Atmanirbhar Bharat and for Make in India, such steps are crucial, and we want to make sure that efforts which have been taken clearly give us the confidence that Make in India, which was launched at least 3 years back as an initiative to change the mindset of people, to bring in new ways of doing business, to make sure that India becomes attractive on its strength, are all being received very well. So today, if I look at Make in India for Atmanirbhar Bharat, the foundation was laid earlier, and many investors have found that India's market, size of India's market, the aspirational middle class, the rule of law which prevails, and also making sure the talent pool which exists in India makes India an attractive destination for producing for India and also for producing in India and exporting from India. So that is exactly what has been shown here, and incentive schemes are being given for these champion sectors. So we need to clearly understand the purpose with which when we talk of Atmanirbhar Bharat, it is on all these steps building India's strengths. The next slide would show you that attempts and also efforts have already started for upgradation of industrial infrastructure. I'm saying all this because the reform steps that I'm going to announce will have all these also having a play in the various steps that we are announcing. Upgradation of industrial infrastructure is something which we need to talk about afresh, although industrial infrastructure, industrial land banks, and also clusters have been recognized long time back. But they are all somewhat being utilized, many of them lying unutilized. So now using technology, we are making sure these land parcels are, through GPS, GIS mapping, are able to be identified, location clear, their challenges being identified, common facilities which have to be created will all be done. 3,376 industrial parks and estates and SEZs have between them, have among them 5 lakh hectares, all of them mapped as industrial information system can map them for future use. So this will be a part of the portal which we will be running, so that it will be available for any future potential investor to say, I know land exists there, we can go set up a business there. In the meanwhile, the state government working to this with the center is going to provide all the common facilities. So all industrial parks also will get ranked by 2020-21, so that we know what is the level of readiness that they have and how ready they are for competition. So with this said as a broad introductory statement, I just want to highlight the 8 sectors about which we are going to talk, where reforms are being brought in. Coal, minerals, defense production. I read out separately the next 3, although they together contribute for flying, airports and also aerospace related matters. Airspace management, airports, MRO, which is maintenance, repair and overhaul. So those 3 all go over to the civil aviation area. Distribution companies in the union territories, power distribution companies in the union territories. Space sector where ISRO and others have been flag bearers for India. Atomic energy. So 8 sectors, but I will be showing you about 10 to 12 slides, all of them explaining each one of these sectors in detail.
नमस्कार। आत्मनिर्भर भारत की जो कल्पना माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हम सबके सामने रखी थी और 20 लाख करोड़ का पैकेज देश भर के लिए लाए थे, उसी कड़ी में आज चौथी प्रेस वार्ता में नए क्षेत्र कौन से हमारे विकास के लिए हो सकते हैं, उसको लेकर क्या बदलाव, क्या रिफॉर्म्स लाई जा सकती हैं, उसको लेकर आज हम आप सबके सामने आए हैं। क्योंकि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कई बार पहले भी कहा है, रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म, ट्रांसफॉर्म, और उसी दिशा में सबसे पहला कदम है रिफॉर्म्स लाने का। पिछले कुछ दिनों में एमएसएमई सेक्टर हो या एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर हो, इनकी परिभाषाएं चाहे एमएसएमई की हो, ये एसेंशियल कमोडिटीज एक्ट की हो, एपीएमसी एक्ट की बात हो, इनको बदलने से ही इतनी पॉजिटिव बातचीत पूरे देश भर में हो रही है। एक सकारात्मक सोच इन दोनों वर्गों में देश भर के करोड़ों लोगों के बीच में चल रही है। एक नया क्षेत्र या बाकी नए क्षेत्र, जिनकी माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी ने अभी बात कही कि 8 नए क्षेत्रों को लेकर आप सबके सामने आए हैं। यह भी कहा कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत को कड़ी प्रतिस्पर्धा के लिए तैयार रहना होगा, हर चैलेंज के लिए, चुनौती के लिए तैयार रहना होगा, और जहां जहां नीतिगत बदलाव चाहिए वहां वहां नीतिगत बदलाव लाने के लिए भी हम लोग तैयार हैं। अब इंप्लीमेंटेशन की बात आती है, उसके लिए माने ही मोदी जी जाते हैं कि किस तरह से अच्छी इंप्लीमेंटेशन पिछले 6 वर्षों में करके दिखाई, चाहे वो जीएसटी की बात हो, इंसॉल्वेंसी बैंक्रप्सी कोड की बात हो, जनधन योजना की बात हो, यूपीआई जैसे प्लेटफॉर्म बनाने की बात हो, हर गांव में बिजली और हर घर को राशन देने तक की कोविड-19 की स्थिति में बात हो, तो इसलिए इस सेक्टर्स में भी तेजी कैसे आए, फास्ट ट्रैक इन्वेस्टमेंट की कैसे हो, उसके लिए एम्पावर्ड ग्रुप ऑफ सेक्रेटरीज का गठन किया गया है, जो निजी निवेश की मंजूरी के लिए गति देने का काम उसमें से करेंगे ताकि उसमें सहायता मिल सके और आकर्षित हम विदेशी निवेश को कर सकें। प्रत्येक मंत्रालय में प्रोजेक्ट डेवलपमेंट सेल बनेगा जो ये तय करेगा कि किस क्षेत्र में निवेश आ सकता है, कौन निवेशक हो सकता है, इनसे बातचीत करेगा और राज्यों से और केंद्र से बात भी करेगा ताकि निवेश करने वाले को कहीं पर दिक्कत ना आए। एक तरह से हैंड होल्डिंग करने का काम यहां पर होगा। राज्यों की रैंकिंग भी होगी, उनकी कितनी अट्रैक्टिव पॉलिसीज है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए, यानी कि निवेश के लिए कितनी आकर्षित करने वाली उनकी योजनाएं हैं, उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा उनकी रैंकिंग को। और नए चैंपियन सेक्टर्स को बढ़ावा देने के लिए, चाहे वो सोलर पीवी हो, इसकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की बात हो, या एडवांस सेल बैटरी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की बात हो, इसके लिए भी जो भी इंसेंटिव देने होंगे वो भी हम लेकर आएंगे ताकि इन क्षेत्रों में भी बढ़ावा, ऐसे और कई क्षेत्रों में भी बढ़ावा मिल सके जो नए चैंपियन सेक्टर्स हैं। अब इंडस्ट्रियल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की अगर बात करें, औद्योगिक बुनियादी ढांचे में उसके उन्नयन के लिए इस योजना को लाया गया है ताकि देश भर में जो लगभग 3,376 इंडस्ट्रियल पार्क, इंडस्ट्रियल एस्टेट, SEZ, ये लगभग 5 लाख हेक्टेयर्स में फैले हुए हैं और इन सब की जानकारी आपको औद्योगिक सूचना प्रणाली यानी कि IIS पर मिलेगी, जिसकी GIS मैपिंग की जाएगी ताकि निवेश करने वाले को कोई दिक्कत ना हो। जो उसको बाद में दिक्कत आती थी जमीन से जुड़े मुद्दों को लेकर, वो भी दूर होगी। जमीन की उपलब्धता भी 5 लाख हेक्टेयर के लगभग जो इंडस्ट्रियल हमारे स्टेट्स हैं या हमारे पार्क्स हैं उनमें भी जो होगी उसमें उनको लाभ मिलेगा। और इसीलिए इस योजना में बदलाव भी लाया गया है। इसको मिशन मोड पर, चैलेंज मोड पर किया जाएगा ताकि ज्यादा से ज्यादा निवेशकों को जमीन जल्द से जल्द उपलब्ध राज्यों में करवाई जा सके और इसके लिए कनेक्टिविटी में भी सुधार होगा और कॉमन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जो है उसमें भी अपग्रेड करने का काम किया जाएगा।
The first of the 8 sectors that I want to speak about is coal. There are 4 slides all speaking about the various steps, but I will run through about all the 4, even though the sequencing may be a bit different. We are bringing in commercial mining in coal sector. You know, coal, as all of you all know, coal is a government monopoly. That government monopoly is what is now being removed. Commercial mining of coal on a revenue sharing basis would help more coal availability and also more coal availability at market prices. So this will be far more efficient and more people can get to using it. Liberalized entries will be allowed for people to participate for a range of coal blocks, and for those who produce well before the deadline, incentives also will be given. But let's first understand, if India, which is the 3rd richest or which has the 3rd largest and 3rd large valued coal availability in its mines, in untapped mines, meaning it has the 3rd valuable deposit of coal, and we still import coal, and we still sometimes feel that the energy sector is suffering because raw material is not available. So regulations are required, and this line you would recall I have said day before yesterday, I have also said yesterday, regulations are required when there is a shortage. But this country has got abundant coal, and we've been regulating it, suffocating it from producing ample quantity of coal which will be required by the industry. Economy can be benefiting from this kind of opening up. Of course, we are conscious that coal is not so environment friendly. So in order to have coal converted into gas, we are providing incentive so that coal is also used, but the environment commitments of India are honored and we benefit from gasification of coal. And also the coal bed methane also will be auctioned, so that these coal beds which are with Coal India but untapped also can benefit the country. So the coal bed methane extraction also will happen through auctioning. 50,000 crores will be spent by Government of India for creating evacuation infrastructure, because after the coal is mined, brought to the pit head, you don't have enough right kind of infrastructure to have this coal, mine the coal, evacuated from there. So 50,000 crores is being given to ensure that evacuation infrastructure is provided. So this is in short what is being done to bring in reforms in the coal sector.
कोयला उत्पादन के क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भरता हमारी कैसे बने और केवल उतना ही कोयला बाहर से लाया जाए जिसकी आवश्यकता है, जो यहां पर उपलब्ध नहीं है। दुनिया के पहले 3 सबसे बड़े भंडारण क्षमताओं में जहां पर कोल ब्लॉक्स है, यानी कि जहां पर कोयला है, उसमें भारत आता है। उसके बावजूद हम शायद अपनी क्षमता का दोहन नहीं कर पाए जो हमारे पास उपलब्ध थी, और इसीलिए कुछ बदलाव इसमें किए जाएंगे ताकि इसमें जो प्रति टन पहले जितने रुपए मिलते थे उसकी बजाय अब राजस्व साझा करने की बात आएगी, उस पर जाया जाएगा। और जैसे पहले जो स्टील प्लांट चलाते थे, बिजली का उत्पादन करते थे, केवल उनको मिलता था, इसके लिए ओपन ऑप्शन भी होगी ताकि ओपन मार्केट में सेल कर सकें, ज़्यादा लोग इसमें आए, ज़्यादा इसका खनन हो सके, और इससे देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को और देश के उद्योग को भी बल मिलेगा। लगभग 50 ऐसे नए ब्लॉक्स खनन के लिए नीलामी पर आने वाले समय में उपलब्ध करवाए जाएंगे, और इसमें अपफ्रंट पेमेंट की सीलिंग होगी। कोई पात्रता के बड़ी कंडीशन इसमें नहीं है इस तरह की, केवल उनको अपफ्रंट पेमेंट करनी है। और यही नहीं, इसके अलावा जो पार्शली एक्सप्लोर्ड थे हमारे खदान, उनको भी देने का काम किया जाएगा ताकि उनका भी खनन और किया जा सके और उसका लाभ भी मिले। कहीं ना कहीं आंशिक रूप से ये जो अन्वेषण हुआ था, अब इसको निजी क्षेत्र को देकर जल्दी उसमें और लाभ मिल सकता है, और प्लेयर्स आएंगे तो खनन ज्यादा हो पाएगा। और जो अपना समय से पहले खनन की प्रक्रिया को पूरा करता है तो उसको भी इंसेंटिवाइज करने का काम कुछ ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स के माध्यम से किया जाएगा। गैसिफिकेशन के लिए नई अलॉटमेंट्स की जाएंगी ताकि अलग अलग इसमें डाइवर्सिफाइड अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिल सकें उनको। रेवेन्यू शेयर में उनको रिबेट मिलेगा जो सक्सेसफुल कोल बिडर्स होंगे। और यही नहीं, इसके इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के डेवलपमेंट के लिए, आधारभूत ढांचे के डेवलपमेंट के लिए लगभग 50,000 करोड़ रुपया खर्च होगा। और ये जो कोल इंडिया लिमिटेड की एनहांस्ड एवैक्यूएशन की हम बात करते हैं, एनहांस-CIL जो कोल इंडिया लिमिटेड की जो खदानें हैं, उसके लिए भी कोल प्रोडक्शन प्राइवेट ब्लॉक्स को दी जाए, उसके लिए भी इसमें अवसर उपलब्ध होंगे।
I move to mining of minerals. We spoke about coal all the while, now we talk about minerals. Minerals, the sectoral reform that we want to bring in order that we have a boost given for growth of the sector, better employment potential, and bring in state-of-the-art technology, is to now have a seamless composite exploration cum mining cum production regime. Earlier, Somebody was doing the exploration, someone else had to again come and undergo the whole process of auction, bids and so on to start the mining. And then once the mining activity starts, the production is subsequent. All these were dealt with in separate silos. So now what is being suggested is for ease of everybody participating and also the stakeholders, a seamless composite exploration cum mining cum production regime is being brought in. So there is no uncertainty for somebody who invests a big quantum of money for exploration whether he'll be able eventually to even to mine the mineral. So that system is going to make it easy. 500 mining blocks would be offered through this open transparent mechanism. And if I take the example of aluminium, the way in which things had happened, the prevailing by the prevailing setup, if somebody wants bauxite, which is a necessary raw material for aluminium, he had to go for an auction for bauxite. And then he would realize that he doesn't have enough power to generate, or power supply is erratic. Then he would turn around saying, can I have some coal from somewhere? If he doesn't get it, or if he doesn't have enough power supply, he ends up sitting with the raw material but not being able to produce aluminium. So many such people had left this country and gone and invested elsewhere because of these mismatched policy. So what we are now taking the example of aluminium telling you is joint auction of the necessary two like bauxite and coal will happen so that it can enhance aluminium industry's competitiveness and will help aluminium industry now to reduce electricity costs, because they would be given the coal, they can gasify it and then use it, or use it in the other way. So that is one major step that we want to take in order that the mineral sector is better facilitated. And then we would also like to remove the distinction between captive and non-captive mines. So that will also help in transferring of mining leases and sale of surplus and sale of unused minerals. So I've had a mine given to me, I've taken some mineral out of it, but later I've lost interest, I don't have the capacity anymore. The left unused mineral lies there, nobody else benefits out of it. So now we are permitting them to transfer the mining lease so that whoever is interested in using the rest of it, which has been kept there, meaning which is lying there unmined, they can also use it, so the country can benefit from it. Then the Ministry of Mines is in the process of developing a mineral index for different minerals. The process is ongoing. Then a rationalization of stamp duty, which is payable at the time of award of mining leases, is also happening. So these two slides have clearly told you about the various reform steps that we're taking in order that this country, which is rich in minerals, gets timely served by the availability of the minerals for the industries to benefit from.
जहां कोयले वाले में पहले पार्शली एक्सप्लोर्ड ब्लॉक्स इनकी भी ऑक्शन करने की ऑप्शन दी जाएगी ताकि उसकी एक्सप्लोरेशन भी हो सके और उसकी प्रोडक्शन से भी उसका लाभ लिया जा सके. इसमें प्राइवेट सेक्टर की पार्टिसिपेशन को बड़ा बल मिलेगा और इससे इस क्षेत्र को बढ़ावा मिलेगा. गैसिफिकेशन की जो बात की गई, इससे भी एक डाइवर्सिफाई करके क्लीन फ्यूल की तरफ जाने की बात अगर हम करें तो उसका भी लाभ मिल पाएगा. और इसमें भी लगभग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की डेवलपमेंट के लिए 50,000 करोड़ रुपया का खर्च होगा. और यही नहीं, जो कन्वेयर बेल्ट वगैरह बनानी है रेलवे तक जाने के लिए, रेल हेड तक जाने के लिए 18,000 करोड़ रुपए का निवेश उसके ऊपर भी होगा. तो वो भी एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली उस तरह के कदम उस पर उठाए जाएंगे, इससे भी उसको बल मिलने वाला है. और कोयले के क्षेत्र में एक बड़ा कदम है. कोल बेड मीथेन की जो बात करते हैं उसकी एक्सट्रैक्शन के लिए भी उसमें उनको अधिकार दिए जाएंगे. और ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में उसमें भी इसकी सिंप्लीफिकेशन और की जाएगी ताकि माइनिंग प्लान को छोटा किया जा सके और 40% इसमें ऑटोमेटिक जो इंक्रीज है वो एनुअल प्रोडक्शन में देने का अवसर मिलेगा. और कंसेशन कमर्शियल टर्म्स में कहा जाए तो लगभग 5,000 करोड़ के इसमें वो भी होंगे। यही इसके अलावा जो मिनरल सेक्टर में, खनिज क्षेत्र में आपने जो संरचनात्मक सुधार लाने की बात कही है, उसमें भी सीमलेस कंपोजिट एक्सप्लोरेशन कम माइनिंग प्रोडक्शन रेजिम की हम बात करते हैं कि इसको लाएंगे और 500 माइनिंग ब्लॉक्स ये उपलब्ध करवाए जाएंगे और इसमें भी बॉक्साइट और कोल मिनरल ब्लॉक्स, इसकी ज्वाइंट ऑक्शन हो, नीलामी प्रक्रिया हो, इसको बल दिया जाएगा ताकि जो एल्युमिनियम इंडस्ट्री है इससे उसको लाभ मिलेगा। अपनी बिजली की जो लागत आती है उसको कम करने के लिए भी और एल्युमिनियम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग भी यहां पर ज्यादा हो, इससे उसको बल मिलने वाला है। इससे जो हमारे खनन में उसको भी वृद्धि मिलेगी और रोजगार सृजन भी होगा और स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट टेक्नोलॉजी का भी इसमें उपयोग हो पाएगा। जी, मिनरल इंडेक्स बनाने की एक बात हमने यहां पर की है जिसको डेवलप किया जाएगा और स्टैंप ड्यूटी को रैशनलाइज किया जाएगा। उस समय जब वो अवार्ड की जाएगी माइनिंग लीसेस, उस समय उनको कर दिया जाएगा। थैंक यू।
We now move over to talking about defense production. Make in India and self-reliance have now, as I said, become a partner in the sense of for self-reliance, Make in India is absolutely necessary. And particularly when you're talking about critical industries like defense, we need to be self-reliant where we really can be. Of course, armed forces require best of equipments. They need some of the latest technology-driven equipments. Some high-tech equipments are required which have to be imported. They can be imported. And it continues. We are seeing very good latest weaponry coming also. But some of those which are being produced in India can be bought in India, and therefore we have now come to a conclusion that we shall notify. This is done with the consultation with the Department of Military Affairs. We shall notify a list of weapons and platforms which shall be not allowed for import, but we shall have them bought from India. So the import of this listed set shall not be allowed, be banned. And every year this list will be increased because more capacities which come to be recognized, which meet the standards, which meet the defense standards, will be obtained from India. As I say, the defense is general staff qualitative requirements, the GSQRs for weapons and platforms will all be honored, but those list of items which get notified can only be purchased from India. Indigenization of some imported spares will also be given priority. For years we have been producing spares which are good enough for even those imported vectors, imported weaponry, imported platforms. Unless we are able to do that, the spares are also something which India probably can produce but are getting imported. So indigenization of imported spares. Then for all this, a budget provision, a separate budget provision will also be given for domestic capital procurement. So this is going to be something with which the defense can make sure that their import bill can come down. This is done in consultation.
Batoriak बढ़ाइছে रूप